everyone, and welcome back to Upside Down Disney. If you're new here, my name is Jess, and today I am announcing the winner of my 400 subscriber giveaway. But before I do that, I do have some Q&A questions that I'm going to answer. So part of entering for this giveaway was asking me a Q&A question for my 400 subscriber Q&A. I've had a couple of people tell me that they would like to see me do a Q&A to kind of learn a little bit more about me. So that is why I decided to go ahead and do one along with this giveaway. So I got a whole bunch of really good questions, and so we are just going to jump right into it before we announce our winner. So stay tuned to the end to find out who wins my giveaway. So the questions were mostly like Disney based questions. There wasn't too many like personal questions, so there was just mostly Disney. There was a couple YouTube questions. So I'm going to start off with like just a general question and then some YouTube questions that I got asked. And then we're going to go right ahead into all of the Disney related questions, which I've broken up into Disney parks, Disney movies, and then questions about my different collections. So first question comes from Laura Martin, and she asked, what's your favorite place to go other than Disney? Which is a great question. So I haven't been too many places that are like super far away from where I live here in New Jersey. I like to go into New York City a lot. I love to travel up to Rochester, New York. I have some friends who live up there, and it's just a beautiful city with a lot of stuff to do, like museums and different things like that. So that is another place that I really love to travel. But I haven't been too far out of state other than Florida. That's like the furthest away from Jersey that I've ever been. So I don't really have too many places that I have like traveled to really compare it to. But probably Rochester, New York is like my top favorite place to travel to other than Disney World. So on to some YouTube questions. Karen Fisher and Zoel's World both asked, why did I start my channel and what are my channel goals? So the reason that I started this channel was because I got really into watching Disney YouTubers around my first trip to Disney, kind of just like in preparation for that. And so I, after watching all of these YouTubers for a couple of years, I was like, I basically do all of these things. I buy like so many pins and unbag them, and I'm always shopping at Disney, and I love to talk about Disney related things. And I've kind of had YouTube channels on and off throughout my entire like teenage years. Like me and my friends tried to make one back in like middle school, and then I had one where I would post videos of me like singing covers of songs, which were not very good, but I did that for a while as a teenager. And so, I always like tried and wanted to start a YouTube channel. I just never found anything that like I felt like I was good enough at, or that like I could do and that would like stick as like a thing for me to focus the channel on. And then I discovered that there was a whole world of Disney YouTubers and like fandom channels and stuff. And I was like, well, I am such a huge fan of Disney and a whole bunch of fandoms. So this would kind of be like the perfect thing for me to do. And I love seeing the community that people have created here. And I just wanted to be a part of that. So I decided to start my own channel. And yeah, that is basically the inspiration, just watching a whole bunch of other Disney YouTubers and just always having wanted to start a YouTube channel, and finally seeing something that I felt like was my like niche that I could like kind of fit myself into. So, and as for goals for the channel, just to grow as much of a community as possible, to try to spread positivity with this channel, and just share my love of Disney magic with all of you and get some of that magic and love back, is definitely just the goal. So yeah. Also, if you see me looking down, it's because I have my laptop with all of the questions on it down here. So you're going to see me looking down quite a bit to read the questions. Elizabeth Stoy asked, what have you learned the most from running a YouTube channel about Disney? I think what I've learned the most, I think more than anything, I've just learned like the effort it takes to have a YouTube channel, to film these videos, to edit them, to upload them. It's definitely like a process and a lot more work than I think a lot of people realize it is at first. Like people always, talk about when YouTubers complain about like the workload and how busy they are and whatever. People are like, you just film a video and post it on the internet. Like, what do you have to complain about? But it is actually a lot of work. You have to edit, you have to set up lighting and equipment, and it takes a lot more work than just you film it and then you post it in 5 minutes to the YouTube channel. It's a lot more work than that. So I think that's like the number one thing I realized that I've like learned. But other than that, I learned how just fun it is to create something and to kind of just like share and be a part of this Disney YouTube community. And I've definitely learned I'm a lot more aware of like different products that come out and different Disney things that are happening than I ever was before since starting this channel and following other people who may have other interests than me. I used to really only see things that I was kind of interested in, and now I'm learning about just like a whole bunch of other areas of the fandom, just from being a part of this community and having this channel and seeing what other people are into through their channels and their comments and things like that. So I've definitely learned a lot just from starting this channel in the like year or so that I have. And then on to just some general Disney related questions. So this was the first part of Elizabeth Joy's question. She asked, when did you really fall in love with Disney? And I have always been like so obsessed with Disney ever since I was a little kid. I had VHS tapes of like all the classic Disney movies, and I would watch them all the time. Little Mermaid being my favorite, obviously. And so I've always just had a love of Disney. I've always wanted to go to Disney World. That was like when I was a kid, I would beg my parents to let us go on a Disney vacation. But it was just something my family couldn't afford. So, but I think the first trip that I took to Disney World was what really sparked the passion again and the obsession. I had Disney collections and things like that, and like, you know, all the shirts and whatever, but like going to Disney really got me so obsessed with it again and made me just like want to be in Disney World all the time and learn about Disney parks all the time and things like that. So I definitely think that like going there like reaffirmed that obsession and that love, and like was like, no, this is something that I'm going to continue on into my adulthood because this is just magical and a fun vacation place that I can go and just experience magic and feel like a kid again. And then one day when I have kids, share that magic with them. So yeah, that's what sparked the love. Wish Upon Ohana asked, what most influenced your love of all things Disney? And that definitely comes from my mom, and just my extended family in general. My mom always had Disney movies for us growing up. A lot of like the toys and things that we had were all Disney themed. I had like Pocahontas Barbie dolls. I had like a Little Mermaid sleeping bag and a Pocahontas sleeping bag. And so just a whole bunch of Disney stuff as a kid growing up. So it was just always around me, and my cousins always went to Disney when I was a kid, and like extended family. And so I would always see pictures of their Disney trips and different things. Yeah, I just come from a family of Disney lovers. So that is definitely what most influenced my love for all things Disney. And then Mickey's Girls asked, why is Disney such a big part of your life? And that kind of, the last question kind of answers that one. But yeah, just because it was just such a big part of my childhood growing up and such a big part of my family's life. They were just so obsessed with Disney as well, and you know, showed me all the movies and things like that. So that's definitely why it just kind of became such a huge part of my life, because it was something important to the people in my life that were kind of introducing me to things and kind of showing me movies and shows and things that I might like. So that is why Disney has become such a huge part of my life. And it's kind of stayed a huge part of my life just because of the magic of it. You know, you can be 5 or 25 and watch a Disney movie and still just get so much joy from it and so much emotion, and just have such like a similar experience kind of watching it. And so I think that it's just something that's magical and kind of transcends all ages. So that's definitely why it has stayed something that is a huge part of my life as well. So now on to some Disney movie related questions. So Ashley Kutch asked, what is the first Disney movie that made you fall in love with Disney? And I'm gonna have to give it to The Little Mermaid, because that is like the first one that I really remember watching, and the one I remember watching the most as a child, because that was my favorite movie. Ariel was my favorite princess. I always wanted to trade places with her. Like, I would always say that like her whole problem could have been solved if she just met me, because I gladly would have taken her place as a mermaid and she could have become me as a human, and it would have been perfect. Because I just thought that being a mermaid and living under the sea and in Atlantica would be so cool. So yeah, The Little Mermaid is definitely kind of the movie that started it all for me. But I also remember loving and watching Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Toy Story, and all of those movies growing up as a kid. But The Little Mermaid, I think, is the first one that I like really clearly remember seeing. And Susan Lee asked, what's your favorite Disney animated movie and favorite live action Disney movie? So for animated, I've already said The Little Mermaid. A close second would be The Nightmare Before Christmas. I kind of consider them slightly different categories, because one's stop motion animation and the other is just like regular animation. And then for favorite live action Disney movie, that's like kind of hard. If we're going with like live action remake, I'm probably gonna say Beauty and the Beast. And I know a lot of people like criticize the live action Beauty and the Beast, but something about it, I just really enjoyed it and thought it was just a lot of fun. Movies to me don't always have to be like the greatest cinematic masterpiece in the world. Sometimes it can just be something that's fun and enjoyable, and that's definitely what Beauty and the Beast live action is for me. And then as for like any like original kind of like Disney live action movie, maybe like The Princess Diaries or something, because I absolutely love both of those movies. Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews are incredible, and those were movies that I watched a whole lot as a kid too, and like still watch as an adult and really enjoy and get that like whole nostalgic feeling of when I was a kid and would watch them. So for like a original or not like, you know, animated movie turned into a live action movie, I think The Princess Diaries takes the cake. Peyton Chronister and Amanda Arndt asked, if you could put yourself into any Disney movie for a day, which would it be and why? And I kind of already answered this by saying I wished I could trade places with Ariel as a kid. I would definitely put myself into The Little Mermaid and be a mermaid, because that has just like, I've always been fascinated with and obsessed with mermaids as a kid. So that would definitely be just a dream come true to get to be a mermaid for a day. Jamie's Disney Kingdom asked, what are your top 5 Disney songs and Disney movies? So top 5 Disney movies, Little Mermaid, Nightmare Before Christmas, Princess and the Frog, Coco, and Frozen 2. I'm gonna say that is right now. I feel like Little Mermaid and Nightmare are always up at the top 2. And then like the rest of my favorites kind of like fluctuate every once in a while based on kind of what movies have just come out, what movies I'm really enjoying watching at the moment. So yeah, right now I would say those are my top 5s for movies. And then as for songs, oh gosh, Kiss the Girl is always a top favorite. For Unfortunate Souls is obviously always up there as a favorite. God, there are so many Disney songs that I love. It's so hard to pick just like a top 5. I go with Grim Grinning Ghosts from the Haunted Mansion, because that's going to be number 3. Grim Grinning Ghosts from the Haunted Mansion, because I absolutely love that song and that ride. And it just makes me so happy to hear that little spooky tune. So we're going to go with Grim Grinning Ghosts. Then Almost There from Princess and the Frog, because I just absolutely love that song. And I think it's just such like a beautiful kind of message of like working hard and it paying off, and like I'm almost there, and you know I've put so much of myself into this, and now my dream is coming true because I worked hard to make it happen, kind of a thing. I just absolutely love that. And then we're gonna go with Oogie Boogie's song from The Nightmare Before Christmas, because I had to throw a Nightmare song in there, and I think that his song is one of the most fun villain songs in like all of Disney. So those are gonna be my choices. Renee Nave and Magically Aubrey and Julia Sanders all asked, who is your favorite Disney villain? And that is a tie between Oogie Boogie and Ursula. Ursula, just because she was always my favorite villain when I was a small child growing up. I didn't see Nightmare Before Christmas until I was in maybe like the 3rd grade. We watched it for a class party, and so like I had seen Little Mermaid before that, and Ursula was always my favorite villain up until then. And then I saw Nightmare and became obsessed with that, and I just absolutely loved Oogie Boogie, and I thought that he was so spooky and cool. So then he became my other favorite. So those 2 villains. And then Carla _ Lafarga 07 asks, from the Disney characters, which one do you like the least? And I'm gonna have to just say anybody from the Cars universe. I do not like Cars at all. Those are Disney movies and Disney Pixar movies that I just do not enjoy whatsoever. And I've seen them a couple of times. I haven't seen like all the sequels, but I definitely saw 1 and 2 at least once or twice. And I did not really enjoy them at all. They're just not really my thing. So I'm gonna have to say Cars characters, just as like a general like thing, are my least favorite characters. And then last for the Disney movie questions, Johnny Soto asks, who is your favorite superhero from The Incredibles? I definitely think either Frozone or Jack Jack. And I know Jack Jack's a baby, but he's gonna count. Because he's just so cute, and I love like all the different powers that he has. It's just, he's a lot of fun as a character. And same with Frozone, he's just so fun and funny. And I love his powers, are super cool. And I feel like the thing that like I remembered most as a kid from The Incredibles was his character. And especially the scene where he's looking for his super suit, and he's like yelling to his wife. It's just so funny. So definitely those 2. Also from Incredibles 2, Void is really cool. I just love her power of like going through the little like wormhole things. I think she's super cool. All right, and so I'm gonna go to collection questions, and then we will end up with Disney Parks questions. So the first collection question, Carmen Not in San Diego, which I love that name, by the way, that's so funny. She asks, do you collect any Funkos? And I absolutely collect Funkos. You can see a whole bunch behind me here. I have some pretty huge Funko collections. I have a huge Stranger Things collection. I have a huge Nightmare Before Christmas collection. I have a decent sized Haunted Mansion collection, and then I just have a few like random ones here and there. So I have a pretty big Little Mermaid collection as well. And then I have just like a few here and there of just some like Disney parks related Funkos. And then I have some like Peter Pan, some for the other princesses that I like Cinderella and things like that. So I also have a Care Bears Funko collection that's like almost complete. I'm just missing a couple. So yeah, I have a lot of Funko collections. I also have some just like general like television related Funkos. So I have like Gossip Girl and Bob's Burgers, Golden Girls, things like that. So if you'd be curious to see any collections that I have outside of like Disney related stuff, definitely let me know. I feel like I mostly talk about Disney here and a little bit of Stranger Things because that's like the channel name inspiration. But I do collect for like a whole bunch of other things as well. So if anybody would like to see any of that, definitely let me know down below. I'll try to make some videos about other collections that I have. Up next, Disney Michelle Bean asks, when did you start really collecting Disney merch? I think I really started collecting Disney merch probably when I was like in my late teens, like high school years, maybe a little bit after. So kind of shortly after me and my partner got together, because they were also into the same kind of like nerdy stuff that I was, like Disney and like Star Wars, Harry Potter, things like that. So it really inspired me to also collect because they were into like Funkos and things like that as well. So we kind of just like fed off of each other and just like fueled our addictions of stuff. And then we started going to New York Comic Con, and like I kind of started to realize that like, hey, there's like a collectible value in these things. And so that kind of prompted me to want to collect them a little bit more because of like the idea that like this is an investment potentially in something that like I get to enjoy for years, and then I can either pass on to kids someday or they can sell it off and make a nice chunk of change if they don't want it, kind of a thing. So yeah, that's definitely when I really started collecting. But before that I had little like knickknacks and Disney things, but not like too much stuff. So yeah, I definitely think that it was my partner that kind of like really got me collecting. So probably when I was like 18, 19 is when my collections like really started getting pretty big. And then Julia Sanders also asked what made you start collecting, which I kind of already answered in that previous question. So we're gonna go on to Forever Sunshine 2009 asked, if you couldn't collect the collections you have now, what would be the next characters you think you would start collecting? I think if I couldn't have the collections I have right now, I would focus on growing some of like the very small collections that I have. Where I say like collections, but they're not even really like collections because it's just like a one-off Funko Pop here and there. Like I have like a Peter Pan and a Tinkerbell Funko Pop, and so I think I would like expand the Peter Pan collection, or like maybe I'd get into collecting Alice in Wonderland Funkos or something like that, or even just for like other TV shows and movies that I really enjoy. Like I have like one Pennywise from It Funko Pop, or one or two. So maybe I would focus on collecting some more stuff from It or things like that. So definitely I would still keep up with like collecting Disney and fandom things if I had to get rid of the collections that I have now. But yeah, so the collections that I probably would have if I didn't have what I have now would be like Peter Pan, It, Cinderella. I would have a bigger Cinderella collection. I only have like I think like one Cindy Pop. So yeah, those are kind of the characters. Alice in Wonderland, those are who I would collect if I couldn't collect my current ones anymore. Sarah and Disney Lover 94 both asked, what is your favorite Disney collection that you own? Your pin collections, Jim Shores, Loungeflies, etc. So as for like my favorite Disney collection of just like if we wanted to go by like movie or franchise or whatever, I definitely have to say my Nightmare Before Christmas collection. That is the one that I am like the most proud of. If we're going collections in general, it would be my Stranger Things collection because it's the one that I have like the most like grail items for. But in terms of Disney, it's definitely Nightmare. That's the one I focus on the most, I feel like. And then as for like specific types of items like pins, Jim Shores, I definitely think the Funko Pops are like my favorites just because I have so many of them, and there's something that's like inexpensive to get, but like a very cool collectible item, and the details that go into Funko Pops and just the different variants of things that are made, and like the thrill of like hunting to find the ones that you really want, kind of a thing. I really enjoy collecting Funko Pops, so I definitely think that those would be my favorites of anything that I collect. Lisa Pavlis asks, what is your grail Jim Shore Right now my grail is the Aristocats. I forget what the series is called. It's like something heart. I forget what it is, but it's just like all of the family. So it's like Duchess O'Malley, and then the kittens. I think it's like Carved Heart or something is like the collection that it's from. But I'll try to like pop a picture in here as I'm talking so you can see what it is. But yeah, that would definitely be my grail Jim Shore right now. I've seen it online and it is just absolutely beautiful. And then Carrie Ann Della Pasca asks, what is something in your collection that is extremely meaningful to you? I would love to hear the story behind it. So the thing that I chose that means probably the most to me out of my whole collection is from my Stranger Things collection, actually. And it's technically not even a Stranger Things item, but it is this Hellboy Funko Pop that is autographed by David Harbour. Anybody who's not familiar with Hellboy, it is a comic book series, and David Harbour played Hellboy in the recent movie that they made. And so we were at New York Comic Con 2019, and there was a panel to meet, or not like a panel, but like a meet and greet autographing kind of a thing with the cast, but you had to get like wristbands from a booth to get into it. And so me and my partner both tried to get in, only they were able to get a wristband. And like meeting the cast, and I think also the writer Mike Mignola was there as well, and so meeting them was like way more important to them. But they agreed that they would take something to try to get autographed by David for me if they could get like a second thing and kind of try to swap it out. So we figured keep it Hellboy related, so we got this pop from one of the booths around that was selling Funko Pops, and they were able to have him sign this as well as the thing that they wanted signed by him. So it was just super meaningful that they risk getting thrown out of the line if they got caught by security trying to get something else signed to get this for me. And Stranger Things is one of my favorite TV shows. David Harbour is one of my favorite actors of the moment, so it just really meant a lot to get this signed pop. And when they were asking like, oh, can you sign this for my girlfriend, he was like, oh, absolutely, and was like so excited about it. So this is definitely the most meaningful thing in my collection. So Lisa Sacco asks, who is your favorite character to collect, the one that you would go to the end of the world to get? And so for this one, I'm gonna have to say Marie, just because I feel like there's not like a whole lot of stuff available for Marie. There's a lot of like pins and things like that, but like in terms of like plushes and other things, there's not a whole lot. Like I've ordered things from Japan before, and like really like hunted stuff down in Disney stores and online and stuff like that in order to have like a Marie or Aristocats collection of things. So definitely Marie is the one that I would be like the most willing to like go to the ends of the world, drop the most amount of money on a collectible item for that character. Sarah Rodriguez asks, what is your favorite merch item that you buy? Ooh, that's a really good question. What is my favorite item? I think that my favorite item is probably this Jim Shore right here that I'm pointing to of Lock, Shock, and Barrel with Sandy Claus. Kidnapped Sandy Claus is one of my favorite scenes from Nightmare Before Christmas, and that Jim Shore is just so beautiful and was a gift from my partner, so it means a whole lot. So definitely I think that that is like one of my favorite things. Every time I look at it, it just makes me so happy. Just like the first time that I opened it. So definitely that one is probably my favorite. So Mandy Greer and Christy Anderson both asked, what is your favorite pin in your collection? And I have two pins for this one. So the first one is this Jack Skellington pin. This is a hinge pin. So it just has him on the front and like purple glitter in the background. And just like a really cool, like kind of like swirly Tim Burton-esque pattern behind him. And then when you open it up, it has like all the characters. It has Oogie Boogie, Lock, Shock, and Barrel. I don't think Sally's there. You know, Sally isn't there. But it has Jack, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, Oogie Boogie, and the Mayor. And this is a Disney Parks official pin. And this was actually the first ever Disney Parks pin, or possibly Disney pin at all, that I ever owned. And one of my mom's coworkers bought this back for me when she went to Disney World one year. She knew that I love Nightmare Before Christmas and is very into pin collecting herself, like has an insane collection that I would love to take a look at someday. And so she bought this back for me, and it was so sweet. I wasn't expecting her to buy like anything because like she's just my mom's coworker, but they're pretty friendly. And so she picked this up for me while she was there, and it really means a lot that like she thought of me and to get me something while she was on a trip to Disney. So yeah, this is kind of like the first ever Disney pin that I had, and probably what kind of like started it all. So definitely this one is a favorite. And then my other favorite is the Little Mermaid Windows of Magic pin. This is the first like LE Disney pin that I've ever owned, and my partner actually bought it for me online, and it was just such a sweet and thoughtful gift, and was the first like like I said, the first LE pin that I've ever owned for my Disney collection. So that is why this one means so much to me. And then the last question in the collection category comes from Trevor Sorrell, and it's another pin trading question, and it is, how did you start pin trading? And so pin collecting kind of got started by that Nightmare Before Christmas pin that I showed you. And then pin trading, I didn't start pin trading until almost 2 years ago at this point, when I went to Disney World in September of 2019. That was the first time that I ever pin traded in the parks. I wasn't really too aware of pin trading before that, and was also kind of too like weary of like fakes and things like that to trade. So I made sure that I watched a whole lot of YouTube videos, mostly from Magically Emily, about pin trading, how to spot scrappers, things like that. And then when we went to the parks in 2019, I gave it a try and made my first pin trades in the parks. And then I started pin trading online shortly after that from the Disney Kitty Pin Trading Facebook group, and it has been downhill ever since. So that is how I got started pin trading. And then the last category of questions is the Disney parks related questions. So the first one comes from Alana Wallace, and it is, when was your first trip to Disneyland? And my first trip to Disneyland was in July of 2018. I was like 23 years old at the time, 22, about to be 23. And like I said earlier in a question, my family kind of couldn't really afford to go to Disney World when I was a kid, but it was someplace that I always wanted to go to. And so my partner invited me along on a trip with their sister and some of their sister's friends. And so I was able to go to Disney World for the first time, and it was the most magical vacation of my life. It was maybe like 5 days, I think we were there. And it was just everything that I ever imagined it being when I was a kid, and was just so perfect and magical that it sparked the obsession of just wanting to go back every single year. So that was my first trip. Karen Lewis asks, what is your home park, land or world? World is my home park. I live over on the East Coast, so it is definitely much easier to get down to Disney World in Florida than over to Disneyland. Karen Patterson and Theme Park Vets both asked, what parks have you visited and how many times? So I have been to Disney World twice, and I have not been to any other parks yet. I was supposed to go to Disneyland last year for my grad school graduation, but that trip ended up having to be canceled due to the pandemic. But yeah, so hopefully that trip can be rescheduled for maybe next year, in 2022. I don't think it's going to happen by the end of 2021, but definitely I'm shooting for 2022 to go to Disneyland, and I also really would love to go to Tokyo Disney. Forever Essie and Mandy Black asked, if you were granted a free trip to Disney, what park would you choose, what resort would you stay at, and what foods would you try? So I would definitely go to Tokyo Disney or Tokyo Disney Sea. I would stay at one of the like on property resorts there. And I would try literally all of the adorable foods that they have at the Tokyo Disney parks. Tokyo Disney seems like such a magical place. I've seen vlogs from like Miss Cherry's channel and other people who've gone to Tokyo, and it just looks so cool, and is definitely something that I really want to do at some point in the future. So if I was able to go on a Disney trip and money not be an option, that's definitely where I would pick. Lizzie Myers asks, if you worked as a Disney ride attendant and had the freedom to choose, which attraction would you pick? And that is so easy. It would be the Haunted Mansion. I love that ride so much. I think it's just so fun and spooky, and I would absolutely love to be a ghost host. Emma Harrison asks, what is your favorite ride at Hollywood Studios? Probably Tower of Terror for like classic Disney World attractions. And then in terms of like just anything, I really loved Smuggler's Run, the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride when I was able to go on that back in 2019. It was so much fun, and like kind of a dream come true to fly the Millennium Falcon. So that's another favorite, but definitely Tower of Terror is like the top #1 favorite. Like will always be a favorite attraction at Hollywood Studios. Disney Lover 94 asks, what would your dream job at Disney be? And I've never really thought about like working at Disney. But maybe somebody like a cast member at a ride, like a ride attendant, or working in one of the shops or something. I definitely don't have any kind of like musical talent or acting talent to be in any of the stage shows. So if I did work at Disney, like one of the Disney parks, I would probably just be in like sales or something. And Karen Fisher also asked, what announced new Disney ride or attraction are you looking forward to the most? I think the one that I'm most looking forward to is the Princess and the Frog retheming of Splash Mountain. I love Splash Mountain as it is, but it does have such a horrible history to it, and is based on just one of the worst, most racist movies in Disney history. So I'm really glad to see that it is getting a re-theme to something like Princess and the Frog that I feel is just so underrated and does not get enough love in the parks. So I'm really excited to see what they're able to do with that, and I'm sure it'll be magical, and I'm really excited to just see some more of Tiana in the Disney parks. And then the very last question comes from Ashlyn Mills, and she asks, how old were you when you took your very first trip to Disney? And like I said, I think I was 22 turning 23 when I went on my first trip. Okay, and that is all for the Q&A portion of this video. I got some really awesome questions, so thank you so much to anybody who commented asking me a question. I really had a lot of fun answering these and thinking about like some of my favorite Disney things, and especially the collection related questions. I've never really sat and like thought about my favorite things from my collections before, so that was a whole lot of fun. So thank you so much to everybody who asked a question. All right, so now that we are done with the questions, let's move on to the giveaway portion of this video. So I posted the giveaway announcement on March 12th, and then you had 1 week until the 19th at midnight Eastern Standard Time to post your entries. There were a couple of ways to enter. One was here on this YouTube channel by replying to, by leaving a Q&A comment on my original announcement video. And then the other way to enter was through my Instagram. So in the rules in order to enter were that you had to be 18 years or older or have parents' permission. You had to, like I said, comment with a Q&A question. You had to be a public subscriber to my channel. And then on the Instagram side, you had to also come over to the YouTube channel, answer, leave a Q&A question there, make sure you were subscribed and everything like that, and follow all the rules on YouTube. And then you have to be following me on Instagram, and then comment, tagging some friends in the comment. So I've compiled all of the valid entries into a random selection wheel. There were a few people who were not publicly subscribed or didn't follow both directions for Instagram and YouTube. So if your entry was valid, you were a public subscriber, all of that stuff, and I could match your Instagram comment to a YouTube comment, your entries were included in the giveaway. So before I get into picking a winner, just a little reminder of the items that you will be winning as a part of this giveaway. So the first item is this. It's a Small World wishable mystery bag. The second item is a Disney Loungefly LE 1000 jumbo pin of the Little Mermaid Kiss the Girl scene. This adorable Little Mermaid t-shirt from the Disney parks. And then the pièce de résistance of the giveaway, the Ursula Deep Trouble Jim Shore figurine. So now that all that's out of the way, let's flip the camera around and I will show you guys who the winner is. Okay, so here is the selection wheel with all of the entries in it. You can see everybody listed down here. These are all of the entries. And I have shuffled it around a few times so that way if you had multiple Instagram entries or whatever, it's not all on top of each other, to kind of make it a little bit more fair. So I am going to just go ahead and spin the wheel, and we'll find out who won. And the winner is Christy Cat Pins. So Christy Cat Pins, you are the winner of the giveaway. Congratulations. Reach out to me via Instagram message sometime soon in order to claim your prize. All you have to do is just send me your address so that I can mail the package out to you. I'll probably message you in a few days if I do not hear from you, and if I do not hear any response back at all, I will pick another giveaway winner. But yeah, so that is super exciting. Congratulations again, Christy, and thank you everybody who entered this giveaway, everybody who has supported this channel at any length of time along the way. We are now almost at 480 subscribers, which is just so crazy to me. So thank you all so much. I hope that this Q&A and giveaway was able to let you guys know a little bit more about me. I certainly had a lot of fun going through and answering all of these questions. So if you would like me to do another giveaway in the future, definitely let me know down below. And if you like this video, as always, give it a huge thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and remember to ring the notification bell so that you can come get stuck in the Upside Down with me again soon. And as always, if you like what I do here, you want to see and hear more of me, you can go follow me over on Instagram at Upside Down Disney. You can also check out my podcast that I host with my partner called Distales, a Disney podcast, where each week we talk about a different Disney movie and we give some fun facts, and it's a good time. So you can find that on your podcatcher of choice. And as always, thank you also so much for watching and supporting. I love you all, and I hope that you have a magical week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.